when it comes to this episode 7 of Nukitashi, the animation, I kind of want to talk about this, and I think this is very important. I think that for really a lot of people to basically really understand here is basically that. I kind of want people to really understand here is that when it comes to the MC basically of being in this anime, he has a mind that he has to make up, and he has to make a decision what he's really actually going to do, what he's really actually going to say, and what's the next operation of the plan that he's basically going to do with and stuff like that. What I mean basically is that I think that the MC is pretty much has a turnabout of a situation. What that basically means is that he's kind of like doesn't want to go against the law or something like that. He doesn't want to, or we'll say the perverting law, basically, and that way basically in this anime. What that basically means is that I think he has grown a soft spot for the president basically of the school, or let's say the FS basically of the school that runs the operations and stuff like that. That basically what they do and stuff like that. Basically known in general. Basically for other different things that you basically see basically this anime is not really normal for whatsoever at all. I definitely would say this. That's what it personally basically feels to me. But one thing I want people to really understand here is that whatever that the MC is really trying to accomplish, I think he wants to destroy the law. I definitely do think that he really does. But the question is, how is he going to destroy it? How is he going to really basically do it? Because maybe that he doesn't want to do it, or maybe that he sees things basically in an utter different perspective way. Basically just to see right here. It's kind of like being recruited into the military. You know, you have to do workouts, you have to do certain trainings and stuff like that, and basically stuff like that. So basically in a way is that he got recruited into the military. It's kind of like a military situation, because even though he has to obey his commands, he has to listen to what they have to say, even though they have to say sir, yes sir, and stuff like that, thank you sir, understand sir, and all that other stuff and stuff like that, because this basically is very important, because when you're in the military you have to obey commands and basically stuff like that. So I think that he's seeing things a different perspective than what he's not really basically seeing when it comes to other different aspects that you really don't even see basically when it comes to this anime. I kind of would think when it comes to basically of just seeing from the different sides, or I would say the different side, the other way over the rainbow. And when you want to see the other different ways of the other side of the rainbow, you may never know what's the other side on the different rainbow. That's kind of like find out where the rainbow really actually happened. It's kind of like you know, like Lucky Charms or something like that. You know, take as for example, you know, a leprechaun. You know, he has his pot of gold. That's what he has and stuff like that. And you see a rainbow, but nobody really doesn't know if the pot of gold's really bases right there, because nobody doesn't know. Nobody doesn't really know, because the leprechaun likes his pot of gold, because he likes to protect his pot of gold, because that's his necessity, basically what he wants. That's basically what he needs and stuff like that. But if you were to basically go on the other side over the rainbow, the question is, what will you see? What will you see from right there? It differs basically on different perspectives for people to basically assume that there's more difference than to the other side of the story. That some people really don't basically actually know. Could there be a very good possibility that the MC may stay with the FS? That's really, I really do not know. I don't know if he really actually is, but I definitely do think is that I think he really wants to see what's the different correspondent of basically what he's seeing from right there. Maybe that he's wrong about what's basically going on, and maybe that he's saying maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe I should not do this, because I think this is wrong, because I think this is not a right situation. I think this will be anything right. Yes, I definitely do think that the perverted law is kind of perverted, because basically what you see basically all basically different around and basically stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of vague because what you see from there, it's not a normal anime. It's different. It's totally a lot different than other different anime when it comes to Two Level or High School DxD or basically other different anime genres that I've seen basically back in the past and stuff like that. And basically from there, I kind of want personally people to really to understand here is basically that I think this story does have a lot more to it to tell than other different animes that I have seen from different perspectives. I really don't really rare do anime review spaces like this because it's not. Excuse me, I'm not saying it's not really that important, but I think this episode is important because the MC is basically kind of like has a change of heart. It's kind of like the yin and yang and stuff like that. If you basically have those different elements basically outside of you, people do have a change of heart. It means that they have the ability to change themselves. I've seen basically from different perspectives when it comes to movies and stuff like that, anime, also TV shows, also as well too. But if you really think about really that much, what the MC basically really is trying to do. What he's trying to do. Does he really want to accomplish it based on what he's really actually trying to do? Maybe that he wants to accomplish to destroy the law that is in based on the island. But the question is, does he really desirably want to do that? That's the main question is. But I'm not really actually 100% sure. But yes, I definitely would basically put myself in a position because I want to see what's going on from the other different side. Instead of just saying like, no, I don't want to do this because I don't think this is not right because these are people that have lives that they basically definitely do have. But you also have to take into perspective this basis that he's a gentleman. He's basically the guy. He doesn't really want to be heartless. But yes, basically in the uncovered episodes, basically of the other episodes, he was basically kind of heartless. Because he didn't like the perverted laws basically going on basically around the nation, or I will say the island that he's living in, because of that, because he wants to crush it, because based off that, if you go back to episode 5, he personally, I will personally say he had sex, basically with one of the girls with the blue hair. And I think that's the start. Of him. I definitely think that's the start of him, basically, where he really wanted to join the FS. I think that's the basis of the start. What he really wants to see what's going on, and stuff like that. But people, basically his friends, basically his group, the anti-group, basically of them, they're starting to detecting. They're starting being suspicious and basically saying like, oh, you're a traitor, why would you do this? I thought you would want to destroy the law. I thought that's what you really wanted to do. Talk about the assassination event basically of the leader of the island, that they really wanted to take him out. But if they really basically take him out basically out of the picture, that means somebody else would basically replace it. But the question is, will the law still remain, or basically would change the law? Now, when you have basically here in the United States or every different countries, they basically do change laws, and they definitely make it different for people to make it a lot easier for them to understand. But let me say this also as well too: if you disobey a law or you do a crime that is against the law or anything like that, or whatever that is, you have to pay the penalty for that. That's kind of like basically a child is basically disobeying a parent. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you get punished for that. That's kind of like the same punishment. Like basically, like if you break the law, you will be punished for that. Recording to the actions that you did. Basically of that way. That's kind of like basically what the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments are considered as the laws of God. Basically the laws of God. So if you were to break any of those 10 commandments, break up those 10 commandments, then you have to pay the penalty, for your sins. Now I know a lot of some of you guys probably don't believe in God, or probably pretty much don't care really much about that. But that's just basically how society really actually is, or basically of the outside of the afterlife of the world of society, or anything like that. When it comes to having parents, you have to listen to what they say. When it comes to basically the police or whoever it is or stuff like that, whatever that it is. And when it comes to God and basically whatever it is and stuff like that, it's basically those three things are totally different. For one, you're being birthed into the world. Two, you're venturing out on your own. And three, you die, but then you also end up maybe facing the possibility what God is going to judge you for and stuff like that. So that's what I definitely do. That's what I definitely do think, and I basically, in my own view, that's just my opinion. That's what it personally basically feels to me. Regardless if people feel, they want to disagree with me with this and stuff like that. That's just what I definitely do see. But if you follow those categories based on what I said, being birthed into the world, living on your own, living by the examples from your parents, and also teaching others, also your examples to others, and then go into the afterlife and stuff like that. Or basically you meet God, and God will determine like where you're gonna go and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's what I definitely do think. But I will say it again. I understand some people never really don't believe in God, but I just want people just to basically really understand those those differences and stuff like that. But you definitely do have other different societies that wants to enforce the situation, to make it feel like, yeah, you have no choice. But if you were to basically say, like, if you were basically going to rob a bank, you committed a crime. If you disobey your mom and dad, you would get punished, probably get popped in the butt or whatever it is, or something like that. Or basically, according to the 10 Commandments, you have sinned. So it really determines based on that if you disobey your parents, you get punished. If you really did disobey your parents, that's a sin. If you disobey the laws and stuff like that, you go against the laws, then you would basically get arrested, and then you would basically go to jail, either jail or prison, wherever that may be, or stuff like that. So I think this is very important, but it really depends on what's the MC's really actually going to do, and what is the direction that he's basically going to go. I don't know where the MC's basically actually going to go, but I think he has doubts, basically not want to be part of the group that he's basically in, but I think he wants to stay in the the FS, because I think that he sees things more on the other side of the rainbow, because maybe he has grown a soft spot for the president. I think this president definitely does have a very good soft spot for the MC. I really definitely think there's a very good possibility to becoming a couple, because I happen to like the president really a lot. I think she's cute. I think she's funny. I think that she really is basically a likable character based on this anime. But if you study her character really all that well, really very well, you basically would understand. But I see things. She doesn't look like she's basically like a perverted basic kind of character. I see her more basically just being like a love interest based of a character, and I think a lot of people would basically like her. I happen to like her really a lot, because that's just the kind of character I like about her when it comes to anime or TV shows or basic movies, etc. That's just my opinion. But yeah, anyways, that's for this anime review. Tell me what you guys do. You guys agree, disagree with me? What you guys thoughts about the president? About what I said? I'd love to hear what you guys say. I definitely do think that she's best girl, in my opinion. That's what I definitely do think. And what are you guys' thoughts about the MC joining FS and stuff like that? Do you think he's still gonna remain there, or he's still gonna go on this operation to do that? So yeah. Anyways, this is our next time. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Hope you guys have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe. Please consider subscribing. Please hit the like button, give me a thumbs up or give me a thumbs down. I please leave a comment below. Anyways, I love you guys. Take care. Hope you get to one day. Take care, and I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.